Everyone wishes to live their best life. We experiment with various ways to achieve that, whether it is through study, competing, finding a partner, working hard, or admiring someone who inspires you. It is the quality of our inner being that does it all, or grapples with fulfilling life's calling. For the past 20 years, the Brahma Kumaris in Washington, D.C. has been a space for any and everyone to enter into and experience one's soul calling. From 1997, the center opened in an old rickety house on Georgia Avenue in Silver Spring, Maryland, where cars and trucks that passed by would shake the space. But when you were inside, it was a peaceful and powerful sanctuary for all who visited. Since then, over 2,500 events, 17 city and nationwide initiatives, 21 awards, 2 meditation museums have served youths, senior citizens, entrepreneurs, scientists, authors, women, interfaith, the disabled, environment, small businesses, arts seekers, and even leaders. Millions of lives have been served, either through social media, the popular America Meditating radio show, or through exhibitions, lectures, partnerships, and programs held in the meditation museums and centers. We look at 20 years of service as a continued journey of love, courage, wisdom, and determination with friends from diverse backgrounds and thought, who believe a better world is possible when we make ourselves better human beings. Meditation is an important tool that helps us to gain greater clarity, insights, and inner power so we can make healthy choices and amplify our capacity to live a full life. In times of great anxiety, insecurity, and fear, meditation is an essential practice for everyone to gain stability and inner strength. Just look at what a few dedicated, purposeful, and kind group of committed people have been able to achieve in 20 years. Thanks to everyone who have supported us along the way. And thanks in advance to those who believe in our work and power of intent. Brahma Kumaris Meditation Museums, where peace is inside.
Find a quiet space and sit down. Take a deep breath and gently allow your whole body to relax. Become focused by moving your awareness inwards to the center of your forehead. This is the seat of the soul. Focus on this point. Within this silent and still space, awaken a spiritual thought. For example, I am a peaceful soul. Hold this thought. Don't think hard about it. Allow your mind to wrap itself around this simple, positive thought. I am peaceful soul, a being of peace. Hold this thought in your mind and very slowly allow your heart to experience it. Reaffirm the thought if you need to. Say it again to yourself and deeply experience it. As I hold this thought, I become the form of the thought. I am completely absorbed in the experience of the thought. This is meditation.
Hello everyone. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. Welcome to your spiritual vaccine hour. Thanks to our brothers in India who did that wonderful little animation and did such a good job in doing the translation as well as best as they could. Kudos to you. Kudos to you for really just going forward and doing what you need to do to get the story across. Thank you very much. That was a great, great video. We really appreciated it. So hope everybody is absolutely well. Absolutely well. That's just how I feel today. Like absolutely well. Shining, thriving, smiling, being, allowing, flowing, but also feeling a sense of comfort. Right, Sister Gita?
Thanks for that blessing.
You're welcome. So tonight's discussion is all about belonging, and I don't even know if it's appropriate because I think a lot of us are feeling a deep sense of belonging because we're literally all in the same situation to some extent. We just heard that Governor Hogan in Maryland has extended our stay-at-home order, and we're also waiting to hear from Governor of Virginia, Governor Northam, to see if he's extending it. Last I heard, it was to be until June 10th. But doesn't even matter. I mean, the date, stay home, not stay at home. I was sharing with my friends that I just don't even know how things will be in terms of coming out of this in the way that we've done service in general. And that's okay. Like, that's okay. I entered into this particular stay-at-home order, quarantine, lockdown, feeling absolutely hopeful, feeling absolutely ready to be of service, feeling absolutely God's child. Wherever I'm needed to be of service, I will show up. So when I come out of it, I'll be the same or maybe even more amplified. I believe that the stage that you entered your stay-at-home is the stage that you might exit your stay-at-home. So whether we have another week or two, or three or month, see if you can do some deep work, see if there's something there that can be tapped into and touched and felt and transformed. So needless to say, since our discussion tonight is about belonging and having the sense of belonging, I'll have to say that I have been in situations personally where I just didn't connect with the tribe. And I'm sure the tribe perhaps didn't connect with me either. In one way, we shared certain views of how we saw the world, but in another way, we didn't. There was like an ingredient mixed into the formula that somehow changed the whole interpretation. And I'm curious to even hear, for those of you who might be on or listening or watching in whatever capacity, have you ever had that feeling that you just feel uncomfortable in a particular space or with a particular group or even with a particular person, that you might say, this isn't my person. Like I don't feel a sense of belonging. And generally, when we do feel that way, we are still carrying certain karmic limits. If you had tuned into the spiritual vaccine hour last night, you would have heard about the session on the karmic pen and the law of karma, and how we basically hold on to such deep-rooted belief systems that they roll over in our present life, and they determine a lot the way that we feel as people. So in terms of this sense of really feeling that I belong to everyone, what state internally do you think we need to be at in order to walk into, I've walked into prisons, I've walked into hospitals, I've walked into palaces, I've walked into places of presidents, I've walked into major corporations, I've walked into slums, I've sat with murderers, I've sat with yogis, I've sat with philanthropists, I've sat with children, I've sat with senior citizens, I've been with the educated, I've been with those who have a GED, I've been with PhDs. I'm just giving you the list. And to what extent did I feel out of place in any of these places? I can honestly say I felt curious. The sense of curiosity to learn about everyone, to see everyone as they are, and to just, I don't know, just always curious to understand. Maybe it was my curiosity to understand myself. So I enter into my relationships with a sense of curiosity to understand people. But I do remember there was a particular period in my life where there was just a setting, an energy, that whenever I went into this energy, I felt afraid, I felt judged, I felt ridicule, I felt talked about, I felt less than. And I believe that the reason why I felt that is that that particular space and energy was offering me another opportunity to raise my interpretation of myself and to raise my vibration. I've come to the conclusion, because of my study in Raja Yoga meditation, any discomfort that I might endure has so much to do with something still within the soul. Something that I'm still holding on to that for some reason I haven't fully adjusted to. And there are times when you don't really feel like you've karmically connected to somebody, or you feel like you haven't karmically belong, like you don't belong to somebody or something, that your intellect gets sort of influenced. When your awareness, your intellect, your way of being gets influenced, and then you struggle to express yourself. Like you don't know how to get the words out to convey who you are, because the feeling of feeling not connected, not safe, not comfortable has you tongue-tied. And all of that, I would say, still has to do with I've got to know who I am. And until I not only know who I am, but accept what I've become with the room and understanding and wisdom that I might not be the same person in 10 years, so I leave myself open for learning. So the importance of really accepting and knowing who I am will help me to be able to express and convey whatever I am, or at least a very significant part of me. You've heard me speak a lot about the virtue of honesty, that this is one of the prime virtues needed to empower yourself and to get to know yourself at a deep level. So when we're in this zone of being at peace with knowing who I am and accepting who I am, hear it again. When you get to be at peace with knowing who you are, I'm a soul. The soul's original quality is peace and love and purity. And if you are honest enough to accept, I don't feel it all the time, so is my lack of feeling that all the time also a part of me? Yes, at the present time, yes. And the soul will continue as much as it can to thrive, to increase the experience of being at peace with itself. Because the original religion and the original nature of all 7 points, whatever the number is now, billion of souls on the planet, is peace. I'd like to take you into a very peaceful meditation by one of our former students who passed away a few years ago, Anthony Strano. His voice, his vibrations, his consciousness of peace, you'll be able to feel it in this meditation. So take a deep breath, and as you go into meditation, contemplate on some of the thoughts that I've just shared with you. And ask yourself, who am I? And have I reached that place that I'm at peace with me, with room for growth?
One of the qualities that all human minds are searching for at this moment in time is peace. How many times do people say, I want peace of mind? Because without peace there can't be stability, there can't be focus, everything appears chaotic. And very easily when there's no peace, then negativity becomes stronger. Let us look at peace. Let us find peace. And of course, we cannot really find peace outside. Stable peace, which renews me again and again, is inside. And I need to find this peace daily. It cannot be a peace that I find just through a walk in the forest or a walk along the seaside. That is very beautiful and very refreshing. But most of us live in cities. We have busy lives. We don't have time to go to the sea, to be in the forest for many hours. So let me find this oasis of peace inside myself. Peace means harmony. Peace means balance. Peace means a quiet mind. A mind that is under my control. A mind that can be still. A mind that is not like a horse or a monkey that runs here and there whenever it wants. My mind should not have a mind of its own. In silence, with attention, I gradually become the master of my own mind. And the mastery of my mind is to keep it quiet whenever I wish. And in that quietness, I can recharge it. I can give it strength. And when my mind is fresh, when my mind is positive, then my life becomes peaceful. Peace is tranquility. Tranquility is the atmosphere I create around myself. And in that atmosphere of tranquility, others also get refreshment. They also feel themselves released from anxiety, irritation, fears. They are able to relax when they are near me. Peace is serenity. Serenity is a state of being. Serenity is like a combination of being complete within and being content. Complete means I am satisfied with who I am and what I have, and I'm not running after things all the time. I'm also allowing things to come to me. Content. When I am content, I have let go of the wrong desires which make me rush here and there. And in that rushing, not only do I lose my peace, but also my balance. Just let me remain in this thought. I am a serene being. Let me feel that contentment and feeling of fullness. When I am serene, I am truly at one with myself. Serenity is the highest point of peace, the most powerful expression of peace. Peace is calmness. Calmness is when there is no disturbance in my thoughts and in my feelings. When I am calm, I truly have become the master of a situation. I keep myself free from allowing negative influences to dominate me. When I am calm, I am aware and I am alert to keeping the quality of peace as a sacred point of reference within myself. I will not allow it to be hidden or to be forgotten, to be hidden or to be forgotten. If I have found peace, I have found the greatest treasure. To keep this peace, let me not become too critical of others. Let me not overreact to them. Let there be a quiet acceptance, a humble tolerance, which keeps good feelings and positive vision. Even towards those who seem to like creating chaos and negativity. To be in peace will make me generous towards others. To be in peace means I save, I economize, on the energy of my thoughts and my feelings. But at the same time, I'm able to donate. I'm able to donate this peace wherever and to whomever it is necessary. Peace is a quality of my being. Peace is my strength. I am a being of peace.
Peaceful. Didn't that remind you of how much you're in charge with your feelings and your state of mind, your emotions? Many years ago, they thought like peace was so overrated, and now we're realizing it is so much needed than ever before, because there are worries and concerns. And the question is, does even leadership understand our needs? And how do we cope if we don't have a job, if we aren't getting Social Security, if we don't have relatives who will look out for us? There are a lot of concerns, and even some sense that we don't feel we belong to sometimes our country after a while. They're not hearing us, and maybe we're not hearing them either. So it's sometimes challenging when you want to belong in the country that you're either born in or a country that you've migrated to, and you start to feel like, I don't belong here. And I've heard a lot of people feel like that for the last few years, especially of late. This isn't my country. This is not where I belong anymore. These values, this narrative doesn't connect to who I am. And if that is still the case, what can we do to transform that feeling? Because then what it communicates is that we were living from outside in. Outside in. So if whatever's happening outside, I'm no longer able to take it, then I want to move on to another place, another space, another land. And I get that. Really, I do. There are times in which certain energies are just not supportive. If I'm in a particular place that I don't feel energetically is good for my vibrational field without judgment, then I will monitor how long I need to be there, because I would sense that I don't think this is good for me in the long run. So maybe that's why sometimes we might feel a sense of wanting to pick up and move and go to different places, that I can raise my vibrations as much as I want to, which in itself is its own opportunity, but we don't always go that route. Sometimes we need somebody to hold our hand, to feel a kind of a sense of support, right? So one of the things that I've noticed for folks who don't really feel that sense of belonging is that we're not sometimes always able to listen well. There's something that's blocked or locked within the soul. And despite the fact that somebody is different than I am, despite that they eat a different type of food, they dress differently, they speak differently. I remembered once I was at the dinner table, and there was a brother who was visiting us from another country, and You know, it's always nice if there are certain people sitting at your table, at your dinner table. You consider it kind of a privilege or an honor, you know, to be asked for dinner, right? When somebody invites you over for dinner, it's a beautiful experience. And I remembered when we were at that table, I don't know if you remember, Santosh, that brother was eating like he had not seen food in ages. And I remembered how much it disturbed my spirit. As I sat there, it was like I had not seen someone eat like that in my whole life. It was like, and I was like, and this is an educated person who was top in his business consulting thing and had been with presidents and leaders and the most wealthiest of people in the world. And this energy around the table with me, I was like, and of course, if you know me long enough, I do open my mouth at times and I'll say, I'm sorry, but you can't eat like that while I'm sitting at the table. Either you have to go to the other dining room table, or you, if you don't mind, I have to get up. Now, of course, I could have raised my vibrations and accepted and honored, but I felt like there was something that was just being taken away from the space, and maybe I wasn't in a high place at that time, but I had never seen someone eat like that. And I could say I didn't feel a sense of belonging. It wasn't an energy that I felt tribally connected to. But then I could sit with him and have a wonderful conversation about business and about spirituality. But I couldn't sit with him around the dinner table. Wasn't that interesting? Fascinating, isn't it? If food for thought. Santosh was sharing right before we went into the meditation that one of the things that he's felt that when sometimes a soul doesn't feel a sense of belonging in a particular group or with a particular person, that it's important to check if there were desires there. And there's something that comes up a lot, that if I have a desire for something in my marriage, in my friendship, in my company, in my organization, in my political party, in my country, and let's look at it very carefully, and I'm not getting what I desire, won't you feel like you don't belong to it? I'm not getting what I want. I don't belong here. Does that make sense? That whole energy of desire. Bless you, Sister Gita. You know, this whole energy of desire can really mess you up. And one of the other areas that I've observed where the sense of belonging comes from is you can go back to your childhood as much as you want and talk about how much love your parents gave you or how much you didn't get love and question, you know, this is why you are the way you are. On the path of meditation and spirituality, in the teachings of Raj Yoga meditation, if you don't do the work on the inside and figure out who you are, you will always have a problem. And not only will you always have a problem, it'll always be somebody else's fault. Always. Always. So I just invite you to go back to this whole idea. Go back to a moment in your life where you didn't feel a sense of belonging. Whether it was your family reunion, whether it was at school. Remember at school how sometimes you felt so out of place and how you felt like there was always a group of people that just, you know, you either wanted to be with them or not be with them. Then sometimes when you looked at the friends that you ended up with, you're like, how did I end up with these people, you know? But those were the people that somehow had your back. But just go now back to a place where you really felt you didn't belong. If you become really, really honest, was there something that you wanted from those people? recognition, acknowledgement, attention, importance, love, safety, security, money, their life, who they are, what they are. Was there something that you wanted? I know we can take it into another direction, but just in the sense of belonging for now. So there was a desire there. And when there are desires inside of the soul that are unfulfilled, one of the repercussions of desires that are unfulfilled is you won't feel like this belongs to you. These people don't belong to me. Another step that I've observed, when you start to feel like you don't belong, and I've actually felt this, when you are outgrowing your relationship. Let's say your wonderful marriage at the beginning, and 10 years later, you step onto your path of spirituality or awakening. Let's just say that. And all of a sudden, you no longer feel a resonance to your spouse. And you might think you're growing and you're changing, but she's not, but he's not. And you start to feel like, I don't belong to this person anymore. And you might start to develop thoughts about your spouse, about your partner, that might not be true, but because you're changing and growing, there isn't the connection there anymore. It has happened to friends. I remembered when I came into my spiritual awakening, I mean, as much as I loved my friends, and I still do, but we didn't have the same things in common anymore. We weren't able to talk about the same things anymore. It wasn't of interest. So I didn't feel a belonging to them anymore, but I loved them. We had history, but we didn't belong to each other anymore. I'm sure if they sat with me and spoke with me, they would be either bored to death, or that's way too deep, or I can't figure out what you're telling me. And maybe if I sat there, I would just have to be very patient and very humble and very open. Needless to say, we would be something, right? We would have to be something. So check if sometimes you've outgrown, your relationships with people, or maybe they are growing and you are not. You're stagnant. You're stuck. As souls and as living energies, none of us want to stay stuck. Because the natural law of energy is to flow. That's the natural law of energy. It's to flow. And if you're not flowing, then you'll end up in another group of people who belong to the not flow group. Actually, we will always belong to someone. The question is, do you wish to stay belonging to a particular person, group, place, religion, country, belief system that you feel doesn't represent your personal growth, who you've become? That's why I love the whole practice of meditation and Raj Yoga in the Brahma Kumaris. Each time I take a thought, and the thought is connected to Source, to God, the one that I've always belonged to, and that I've separated myself from in consciousness. Because we kept looking for people and possessions and places and things to belong to, more than a belonging to God. Like I stopped flowing. I didn't feel like I was my own hero anymore. I was looking for other people to be my hero. But I could feel there was a block in my flow of love and vibrations and presence because I became so human. It wasn't until I got into my spiritual awakening and connected to the source, to God, to Baba, that the whole world opened up. Like you will just see things differently, and then you'll start to have this belief system that if God is the seed, and He is the seed of the human tree and the human world tree, or the seed of all souls, the Father of all souls, since the energy of God is the Father of all souls, and we all come from God, the Supreme, then we all belong to one another. Then we just belong to one another. And because we belong to God. And it's because we've become so disconnected from that consciousness of the soul being able to express its personality of its godliness, of the soul being able to listen to the gentle whisper of God's wisdom, of the soul being able to always find a sense of growth, and the soul being able to connect, getting out of its small little world, its small little box, and having a broader view of humanity. When the soul is connected to Source, to God, to Baba, you automatically walk on this planet feeling, I belong to everybody and everyone belongs to me, whether they know it or not. You see, you flow. It's like there's nothing holding you back. You know, all your energy is just, the soul is just flowing. It's just flowing. There are no desires, because a desire means you're taking. And once you have a desire and you don't get what you want, you can manipulate, you can lie, you can cheat, because the desire is so strong in you, it will tempt your thinking to cheat, to lie, to deceit, to manipulate, to get from the outside in. That's why when the soul is connected to God, it's the greatest form of belonging. Then you will walk on this planet with such a flow that you'll feel this great connection to all human beings. Doesn't mean you have to have dinner with them at the table, but you will feel the sense of belonging, the sense of respect, the sense of acceptance that because we're souls carrying our own karmic stories, we're all going to be different in the way we interpret ourselves, God, humanity's narrative, one another, but that we still belong here because we all come from Baba, the Supreme. So let's get into a flow right now, and I'm going to continue with the meditation of Anthony Strano. And I'd like you to just go into that experience with Anthony, Brother Anthony, and just flow. Like, you know, become your own hero. Become your own superstar. Find that personality within you that, you know, the hero just belongs everywhere on the set. They're there from the beginning to the middle to the end. And flow. Find that energy in you. It's only a thought away. So Alexa Santosh to play that meditation. And we'll just take that moment for the next 10 minutes. You just take a deep breath. Hold it. Exhale slowly. Take a deep breath again. Hold it. Exhale. Take a deep breath again. And exhale. Feeling very present. Do you feel a sense of belonging? Let's go into this meditation together.
creating a hero. I quieten down and step out of the maze of stressful thinking and doing. I begin to tap into my innate spiritual roots, roots that are sometimes used, but also very often forgotten, because the dragons of doubt, of anger, of worry eclipse them. I decide to become stronger. I decide to direct my life as I wish. I decide to choose a better way to live. I realize that I can conquer the dragon of fear who seems to wait in so many corners of my life. I use the weapon of wisdom, the weapon of determination. I become confident, assertive, no matter what, no matter who comes as an obstacle. I will not be submissive or intimidated by anything or anyone fearful, angry, or pessimistic. I understand I have the power of both self-respect and peace to deal with any situation, any person. In my awareness, I remember always my original roots, my original powers. I remember that I am a hero actor within this play of life. According to time and destiny, I have the right to be here and to express what I am. No need to fear the lack of approval of others. No need to fear rejection or criticism. Let me understand and simply have the courage to do. And through the doing, through the action, I learn what I need to learn. I achieve what I have to achieve. I realize that until I act, until I do, I cannot learn. I cannot find well-being. I cannot find fulfillment. I cannot have victory over the obstacles. With deep faith and determined thought, I firmly do what I have to do. I courageously say what I have to say. Gradually, I realize that my greatest weapons to conquer any dragon, whether doubt or fear or passivity, a peace, trust, and especially the power of decision. I need to be clear with myself what I really want from my life. And then next, I choose and decide the course of appropriate action, giving permission to myself to make mistakes, but being willing to learn at every step. I, the hero of this moment, I do not lose my balance through getting entangled in wasteful talk or hopeless thinking. I do not lose my self-respect by getting influenced by the negative vision or words of others towards me. I do not lose my aim just because others do not believe in it, ridicule it. Let me do what I have to do and grow through both success and failure, praise and affirmation. Out of fear, I must not become rigid. Let me remain flexible, tolerant, and open. Out of anger, let me not become hard and stubborn, but keep peaceful and respectful to all. Out of selfish ambition, let me not become calculating and ruthless, but maintain a respect for the rights of others. Out of insecurity, let me not be lost in comparisons and competitiveness, but value the uniqueness of each one and of the self. These heroic gestures in each moment of each day conquer all the dragons. No crisis is so huge, nothing is that bad that I, the hero, cannot face and transform. I can transform it. Always I can. Because from my spiritual roots, my soul self, I will always find the resources to meet the needs and challenges of living. I always can connect to the divine source, to the divine friendship. I can take that power, I can take that blessing, which makes my task easier and more successful. That divine friend that believes that I can be that hero, the hero that creates the well-being not only of the self, but of others.
that meditation. The whole notion of becoming your own hero and not wait for someone to heroize you. I want you to think about it. Even when you've not felt a sense of belonging to a person or a particular group, when they actually begin to show up in a way that you feel that they're giving you respect or honor or love, even if you're different in your views, haven't you felt like a sense of belonging to them? Wasn't it always like actually a love link? Haven't you loved someone who dresses different than you, who speaks differently than you, and what keeps you kind of connected is your love for one another? So one of the things that I haven't touched on, sometimes when we feel that we don't belong to a particular group, or we might be in a job and we don't feel a connection to the workers or to the colleagues or even to the job, I can guarantee it, you're making a judgment call. Check. Let's say you were with a group of people, like Shaili is asking, Shaili Chopra, you were asking that what if you're with a group of people and they're just not flowing, they're not growing, and you can feel it, as I mentioned, that energy will happen and you feel like, I don't belong with this group anymore. But our love shouldn't stop. So I am growing and I am changing and I am moving somewhere else, and maybe it's not where they are anymore, where we are, how we once were. But my love and my respect shouldn't stop, and I should check, am I judging these people? Well, they're like this, or they're the problem. But deep down, all I'm asking for is their love, or all I'm asking for is for me to become my hero inside, to love and appreciate me for who I am, to have done the work that I can still be able to honor them. I'm around people all the time, maybe not right now, but a lot of times I'm around individuals that I don't necessarily feel that we connect at the same mental, spiritual, emotional, even physical level. But that's okay. That's who they are, and that's where they are, and that's what that's about, and that hasn't anything to do with me. Will I spend 24/7 with them? I don't know. I don't think so. But my love shouldn't reduce. So the point that I'm trying to make is, when you want to have a deep sense of belonging to anyone and to the whole world, don't reduce your love. And when you reduce the love and the appreciation, recognize that you're stepping away from the understanding and the realization and the remembrance. You, the soul, came from God, the Supreme, and that deep connection of belonging will make you feel a great sense of belonging to anyone in the world, because the love will flow through you, not the desire to take. This is not a mental conversation we're having, you know. This isn't a head thing. You can't intellectually decide, I don't like this person, or this one I do like. Your spirit just intuitively, psychically, telepathically, quietly just feels, oh, well, this soul is different. But when you're in soul consciousness, you won't stop loving. And what happens when we find ourselves in groups, when we find ourselves in the workplace, when we find ourselves in a marriage, when we find ourselves with friends, when we find ourselves in a country, in a world that's not connecting to some deep values or deep feelings of love, when it's not giving me love, then I don't feel I belong. Have you ever not belonged to somebody who really loves you? And don't tell me about your parents. I never felt I belonged to my parents, you know. That's different. Because you might have been criticizing and judging your parents. But their love was there. But the judgment or the desire of wanting something else is blocking your sense of belonging. We're coming to a close to our show today, and I would love to talk more about this topic, but I'm just going to end on the note. Sister Gita and I are related, and she has a completely different point of view.
The other day, Santosh was laughing so hard. He goes, "You guys are so different. You like all the windows open. She keeps closing them. We're in the car, and I want all the windows down for the fresh air." She goes, "No, wind them up, wind them up. It's too much air." I want the light. I want to be economical, so I turn off all the lights. I don't need a lot of light, especially if there's natural light. And I'm thinking about the utilities bill. I'm thinking about the expenses. I'm thinking about everything for everyone to sustain for the long haul. And sister will go around and just have on all the lights, I'm very economical with the water. Even when I wash my dishes or use water, I use very little, because I think about children in other developing countries that don't have enough water. That's how I'm thinking. She'll just throw the water on full blast, So we were just saying how different we are. But I don't know if this is a blessing, or Shaili, Priya, Kirit, all of you who are asking questions about tonight's discussion. I don't know if it's a blessing, but I've come to the conclusion that when I judge and criticize anyone, I've blocked my love. And that blockage is what's making me feel I don't belong to these people anymore. So the way I would redo it, because I've been there, I'm speaking the truth. I've been in groups and people like, these aren't my tribe, these aren't my people. And I can guarantee you the minute they come on board and it's just like, "Jen, we love you. You're awesome." I would be like, "Oh yeah, cool." And I might just go, I'm just telling you, I just might run with them. But back in those days, it was like, I didn't have the knowledge that I have now. I didn't have the language that I have now. So to overcome your feeling of not connecting to the people around you, check your judgment, your desires, or your criticism towards them. Just start to reduce it. Go, you know what? I'm not going to judge. I'm going to empathize. I'm not going to judge. I'm going to empathize. It's the opposite. I'm not going to criticize, but I'm going to see them at their best. They say when you get a lot of criticism, it's because people see you at a higher, better qualitative level. And I'm not going to desire and wait and expect them to give me what I, the hero within, should be giving myself. So I wish I could take all the questions today, but I do have another session to go to in our headquarters in New York. And I want to be able to fulfill that tonight. But Santosh is saying, "Please, sister, take this question." Okay, let's see. Seems like lack of belonging can make one feel superior or inferior. What about when you feel inferior due to a lack of belonging? It's a natural feeling, Priya. We all have been there. What it means is that you basically have to begin to build your sense of knowing yourself. You're going to have to step into your power and begin to believe in yourself, to find your worth. And how do you do that? The first thing you do, consider yourself a soul and feel that energy of a soul behind your eyes. First thing, just go into stillness. Don't see yourself based on what people have told you or the expectations of the world. Just sit inside of yourself and say, "You know what? I'm enough." And just hold that for a little, Priya. Little by little, just every day, "I am enough." And you say it with that sincerity and love without any expectation or comparison to what anyone has told you. And that balance will come up. It'll be your self-esteem and self-worth, and we'll never ever feel that we're fully capable. Why? Because life has a way of flowing and always giving you more opportunities to use more of your inner powers. We have the powers. Go back to the class on the 8 spiritual powers that I gave about 2 weeks ago. These 8 powers is what we need to pull ourselves up from feeling so low about who we are. You'd be surprised. The more you spend time with yourself with a good conversation, the more you'll realize how many gifts and specialities you have, Priya. All right, everyone, look, you take it really easy. Have a wonderful, wonderful night. Tomorrow's topic for the discussion, Santosh was supposed to be experimenting with some new gadgets, and so tomorrow I think you'll get a chance to see all of his new toys and specialities. He's like, oh boy, I hope I could make it. I'm trying to make him fully confident about himself because he has such capabilities, you know? And so anyway, tomorrow's topic? No? Okay. Well, go onto the website, Meditation Museum, and see the topic for tomorrow and enjoy it profusely. And I hope you've been enjoying your spiritual vaccine hours every day. I've loved showing up and being here with you. And we'll get some more guests on soon as well. I enjoyed our Zoom session with Doc's Venus. He was quite a riot. And I love the group that was on for the Zoom meditation also on Thursday. So please be well, take care. Don't forget to share the sessions with your friends if you think it's been useful for you only. If you think it's useful and beneficial, no one's asking you to do anything you don't want to do. Yeah.
Antonia says tomorrow the unhelpful habit of judging people.
Oh wow, tomorrow's topic, the unhealthy habit. Unhelpful habit of judging people. Perfect segue into our discussion tonight. So we'll continue with more, and I'll do some steps for tomorrow on how to derail judgment and break away from it as well. Have a lovely night, everyone. Lots of love and million Om Shantis deep inside of you. And be happy. Smile a little bit more. Take care.